So you want to learn the Scandinavian opening, huh? Well, I do, and that's why I learned it, and now I'm going to explain it to you. So stick around, and now you too can learn how to do this ultra cool D5 opening. Alrighty, so today we're going over the Scandinavian defense, which is my personal new favorite way to play chess right now, as a black defense. So what this starts off with is also off of the white e4 pawn. What you're gonna do immediately for the mainline variation is forward with your pawn. This is the Scandinavian defense, and it shows the basics of what this route is basically. You're challenging these two pawns at the beginning, and you're going to see white's response to see if they take, or if they just move forward or defend. But in most cases, your opponent is probably going to take on white because pawn trading is pretty good. From here, you have two main options. My personal favorite option is bring up the queen. Typically, bringing out your queen in early game is not really good, but in this instance, it is fine to do. But you also can bring out your knight, and your knight going to this position, you're attacking here, but personally, I find it a little less fun versus if the queen moves up. You have a bit more of an interesting game. You don't really know what's going to be happening next. So from here, what you're going to see, basically every single player will respond in this way at an early elo. They're going to respond with the knight. As soon as this knight goes to the c-square, you're going to be thinking, do I want to fully retreat or do I want to move? Mainline says, you move. I say, I move. I like going this way. I find it fun. You're putting pressure here and you're pinning this horse to the king to this direction, and you're keeping your queen here. But it is kind of dangerous because sometimes they'll just move their pawns for no reason, and then you have to waste a bunch of moves dealing with this. But if you're playing against a player that actually knows what they're doing, then what they're probably going to do next is move their pawn forwards. After this, for the Scandinavian defense, you always want to develop your pieces. What you really want to do is develop your knights. You don't want to have to develop this knight because then it brings a chance of this queen coming down and attacking. And having two queens in at the beginning of the game is not a good idea. So what you want to do really is bring up this knight. So then you can put pressure in the center and try to take up some more pieces. From here, white typically also develops their horse, and we can just copy, putting pressure here so that this pawn cannot push all the way up, and we're limiting its exposure here. From this position, then, white is going to move the pawn, move the bishop, then our bishop is also going to move. Now, we are developing more of our pieces, we are making progress, and from this position, we are going to then just move some more pawns around. We're going to be pushing up this pawn, we're going to be pushing this position, and we're going to want to keep all of these people away while keeping this opening up for our queen. If we don't have an escape route for our queen, it can go south super easily, and we need to be really careful when it comes to this so we don't immediately blunder our queen, which is the main problem with early queen attacks, right? So push this one forwards. So then they move their bishop, and if you want to, now that there's too many pieces and our knight is no longer pinned, we can just simply retreat as white develops. Then we can trade. And now you have a lot of pieces off the board and you've made a lot of good progress, and your development is finished and you can continue developing the rest. And you're also up a lot of points, as you can see from the Stockfish evaluation. Alright, so now that we understand what happens in my personal favorite way of the Scandinavian defense, now we're going to look at some little variations of when you attack with your queen. So from here, let's say, I don't really want to go to this strange area. I think I want to go back. I want to hide with my pawns. I want to be a part of this family. And so you move back one square. From here, white will try to take up the center, and then you can still develop this knight, which is typical also for the Scandinavian. You're always going to be wanting to move these pieces. White further develops, and so do you, giving some more space for your pieces to move around here. Then, from this point on, white will probably try to go in for an attack, as they always do, trying to pin your pieces, pin your king especially, and to try to take as much as they can. But we really don't want that, so what we're going to have to do is move our knight to combat this knight coming for us. Try to throw out a knight trade, see if they might want to do that. Since trading pieces of equal value is always good, and trading them off at the start, especially at low elos, is really beneficial. But in this instance, let's say white doesn't decide to take it, and instead moves away to attack our queen. From here, we can simply just move one square back. Now, pieces are almost done with development, and we have a lot of good progress going on here. We look at our stockfish ranking, we see that it's a bit at a tie, and white has a little bit more points, so personally this isn't my favorite variation. I think that if you are going to do the Scandinavian, the best thing you want to do really is take, move to this square, or just move back to your original square. So now let's talk about moving directly back. So if we are in this position where we are going to move straight back, this knight of course is going to be attacking us, and we're just going to move straight back. Now, we're kind of lacking on development here, but we have a pawn. They force their knight here, and then now we can just further develop, pretend we're playing a normal game, move out our pieces however we want in our preferred fashion, and can just continue playing. Alrighty, so now let's say that we don't really want to bring out our queen, since we know that this formation is what makes up the Scandinavian. Like, at its core central, this is what the Scandinavian defense is. So let's say that white takes, as they should take, and instead of moving our queen upwards, we actually are going to move our knight. You'll see a lot of people doing this, especially in higher elos. It really depends on your play style, because now this pawn is completely gone. If they move forwards, you can take, and you can go here. You can't really protect it unless you want to do this, but then you can also just bring up your pawn one. Like, just bring up your pawn one, and you have a pretty good defense. This isn't really a good idea, so the idea is that if you're playing as white, your pawn is gone. Your pawn is getting eaten. So, from here, just move up your other pawn, or develop something else. But black is definitely eating this pawn. Let's be sure about that. Further development with our knight, and then we're going to try to fianchetto our bishop here. From this position, then, let's say white is attacking our horsey, and we don't like that. This is not a fun party for us, so we go back, attacking this square, and then white has space to then bring out their bishop, and bring out their knight, and as we bring out our bishop to attack along this long diagonal, while also putting pressure on this piece, and staying aware that, of course, their bishop is still here, and so any wrong move, we could lose our knight if we're not careful. From this position, let's say white wants to attack your knight because your knight is in an awkward spot, and now you can go. White can then trade with you, if they so please, but in this position, white sometimes will add in another player. They'll bring out their bishop, so then they have two attacking pieces, so you can't just simply take with your queen. You're not going to be up. From here, you're going to want to protect. Probably you don't want to protect with your black pawn, your king's pawn. If you attack with your king's pawn, you're really leaving a lot of this open. So attack with the queen's side, then there'll probably be some sort of trade, but most people don't like to trade their bishops for the knight. Really depends on the playstyle, but there's a lot of things that can happen after this, but you have a really solid position that you've built up. Alrighty, so one last thing to talk about before we hop into games and reviewing those. One thing you might see when white is playing is that they might go to this square, then we respond, and instead of taking, like we typically see with the other methods that we learned, they're going to back up their pawn with their knight. And this is a really annoying position. That's why a lot of people at higher elos play it. You're going to see this as you're ranking up. Lower elos, like 500, it's not too common, but it's definitely more common the higher you go and the more theory your opponent really is studying. So from here, you want to take this pawn, and what they're going to do is go here and target your pawn. You have a lot of choices from here, but your pawn is kind of finished. You can bring out your knight, as you can see. It helps with the development. Stockfish agrees that this is a good move, but really, unless you're trading, it really is something. But you don't want to be trading here if you're white. So yeah, just be careful that when your opponent is playing, they might actually do this instead of the other method, so you can't bring your queen out early. Because if you are to bring out your queen, this really is a blunder. You don't want to bring out your queen this early. It's kind of a mess, and yeah, no. You just don't want this going on. Alrighty, so now we're playing the Scandinavian defense, like in practice. So, of course, we meet the e4 pawn with our black pawn right here. I always hope that they make the trade, but instead they're doing this. Why? Why are you doing this? Why? Sure, trade bishops. Trade bishops with me. Trade bishops with me. Why? I could have just pushed the pawn. That probably would be right. But, what? Huh? I don't understand that. What? I don't understand. Like, oh yeah, let's get rid of the bishop immediate. Whoa. It just gets worse. It just gets worse from here. This is not a fundamental game at all. If I leave, then this is covered. Then they're cooked, so they have to move. They're gonna move their... Yeah. So then if I go here, this isn't in a bad position, so I need to go like that. Well, I was going to say that we need to develop our knight. Developing the knight is important, especially in whatever the heck's happening here. Yeah. Okay, broski. Okay. Now they're gonna move their thing here, probably. Or something dumb. They're gonna take. And then I'm gonna take. And then they're gonna take. And then I'm gonna lose. Wait, no, I'm not gonna lose. I have my knight. Now I'm gonna go like this so I can open up my bishop. Try to play my bishop over here. Get it off this, like, starting square so we can actually have some range. We can start targeting this. And also, this is pretty weak. This actually has 2 lines of defense, so that might be stupid. If I just go here, maybe I could just go like that and win. They don't see, but they're probably gonna see, and they're probably gonna push out their pawn next. So, what I'm going to do next, then, is this. Just to have them do something besides moving their queen around the board on, like, the second move and trading off bishops immediately. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Now they can move, which is kind of annoying. Not an instant win, because they move their pieces, but in an unorthodox way again. Like, I don't understand. If I keep my queen here, they're gonna go here, and then I'm cooked bananas. Not actually, because I can go like that, but let's go like this. Push our rook into the center. Then I'm going to push my other rook here. Yeah, rook like that. Then they take... Yeah, and then this is coming for me here, which I don't really like. But it is what it is. Can't really stop that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go here. I want them to take this. Like, I want them to take that piece. Whoa. This was unexpected. This is very unexpected here. Okay, let's go here. not letting them take. Now I'm covering both of my essential squares though, so that's good in theory. I definitely do want to develop this away so I can bring my other rook here, protecting this pawn, so that immediately after I somehow sacrifice this pawn. What? I don't understand. I'm gonna go here. Take my pawn, please, take my pawn. I'm not even attacking their... Okay. Anyways, that's how you play the Scandinavian. And yeah, this is how you do it. Anyways, thanks for watching this video today, and I hope you learned a little bit of something, or just at least enjoyed it. And let me know down in the comments below if you like using the Scandinavian opening, or why not. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to see more random content that I post throughout the weeks. Bye bye!